They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they watch you. One hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
9th December of every year is set aside by the United Nations to mark the International Anti-Corruption Day. The celebration is to draw attention of the world to take a stance against corruption. The day also reminds us of the need to actively speak out and fight corruption in our lives and that of others. Today on the program, we shall focus on the 2022 International Anti-Corruption Day, coordinated by the Interagency Task Team and commemorated at the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center, Abuja, on the theme, UNCAC at 20, Uniting the World Against Corruption. Welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Ruth Awodi. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they watch you. One hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
If you are just tuning in, this is Corruption Must Go, and our focus is on the 2022 International Anti-Corruption Day. The 2022 International Anti-Corruption Day attempts to highlight the crucial link between anti-corruption and peace, security, and development. The most essential part of this day is that tackling corruption requires the cooperation and participation of every individual and institutions. In their remarks on the theme of the celebration, the head of the Technical Unit on Governance and Anti-Corruption Reforms, TUGA, Mrs. Jane Onwumere, the chairman of the Interagency Task Team, Mr. Olusegun Adekunle, and the country rep, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Dr. Oliver Stope, all underscored the importance to collectively fight corruption, saying it was a recipe to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs.
The theme of the Anti-Corruption Day this year is UNCAC at 20, Uniting the World Against Corruption. The theme seeks to highlight the way corruption affects development and impedes on the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. It also seeks to draw attention to the important role played by the UNCAC in uniting the world to fight corruption jointly and systematically.
The global theme for this year's commemoration is UNCAC at 20, Uniting the World Against Corruption. The theme focuses on strategic approaches to combating corruption to facilitate sustainable development. The theme also highlights the start of efforts to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC, in 2023. The linkage with sustainable development is instructive because the essence of government is to ensure and guarantee development and well-being of citizens. Development is basically a process of enhancement of the welfare and security of the people and the nation itself. It goes without saying, therefore, that if we are to make significant progress on development issues, corruption must be reduced to the barest minimum. We must resist anything that can constitute an impediment to the attainment of this goal.
It is my distinct honor to address you on this International Anti-Corruption Day. And we are commemorating the day when the United Nations Convention Against Corruption was first opened for signature in Mexico, in Merida. Let me begin by sharing the message of Mrs. Gadawali, the Executive Director of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Now she observes on the day, and these are her words. Corruption threatens our security, it drives organized crime, it corrodes the economy, it crushes opportunities for development, and it traps people in cycles of inequality and poverty. On International Anti-Corruption Day and every day, we can all act to stop corruption. And we must, because our communities are losing out on trillions of dollars and countless opportunities. As we face growing financial uncertainty, escalating conflicts, and climate disasters, it is more important than ever for us to end corruption.
You are still watching Corruption Must Go. The focus is still on the 2022 International Anti-Corruption Day. The 2022 International Anti-Corruption Day is a forerunner to efforts aimed at marking the 20th anniversary of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC. In his keynote address, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SAN, who was represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Mrs. Beatrice Agba, spoke on how Nigeria has been demonstrating commitment to fulfilling its obligation of UNCAC Treaty. Let us hear from him.
As you may be aware, Nigeria signed the United Nations Convention on Anti-Corruption in 2003 and ratified same in 2004. As a follow-up to this, several legal, institutional, and policy frameworks have been put in place at both national and subnational levels to drive effective implementation of our obligations under the Convention. Of particular note is the recent passage of the Proceeds of Crime Act, designated to support the recovery of proceeds of crime and deprive criminals of the proceeds of their crime. Now, through the efforts of various anti-corruption and law enforcement agencies, substantial recoveries running into billions of naira in various billions of naira, dollars, euros, among other currencies, have been recovered and plowed into funding critical infrastructure projects, particularly the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, under which some of the proceeds have been used to support construction of the Abuja-Kano roads, the Second Niger Bridge, as well as the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Welcome back. Other speakers at the event who gave goodwill messages pointed out the need for a transparent electoral process as the country heads towards the 2023 general elections. They alluded to the fact that a transparent electoral process would birth the emergence of credible and transparent leaders.
I also wish to note the federal government's recent fiscal regulations and monetary policies, which would impact definitely on the electoral process by reducing the flow of cash, which may be used for vote buying.
The current board of the Commission, being the first, has improved on the mandate of the Commission in operational matters. It focused on activities that strengthens government's desire to eradicate corruption in the revenue and expenditure sides of governance, take developmental close to the people by diminishing poverty and implementing sustainable developmental goals, ensuring value for money and the implementation of publicly funded projects, escalate asset recovery and asset return, and reduce retail corruption as the everyday experience of ordinary Nigerians.
The EFCC also welcomed the focus of the celebration in Nigeria on tackling corruption in the electoral process and the anti-corruption strategy. The importance of transparent, free and fair election cannot be overstated. The political recruitment process is the foundation of the moral health of any administration. A crooked electoral process which subverts the will of the people is unlikely to be birthed an administration with genuine commitment to transparency and accountable leadership. It is therefore in the enlightened self-interest of Nigerians that the anti-corruption movement to ensure free and fair election in 2023.
The other topics for discussion on the issue of general election. By the mandate of Code of Conduct Bureau, it is to ensure compliance with Code of Conduct for public officers. Under the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act, or any other law relating thereto. Code of Conduct for public officers, there are rules of ethics of do's and don'ts. Issues like conflict of interest, abuse of office, bribery, and what have you. All these issues are expected for a public officer to fully comply, and the foremost is the issue of asset declaration. But for the purpose of ensuring a free, fair, and credible election, the issues of conflict of interest, abuse of office, and what have you, Code of Conduct Bureau is looking forward to partner with INEC, partner with all the stakeholders that matters.
The event also dovetailed into two panel discussions where discussants brainstormed on ways to tackle corruption in the 2023 general elections and beyond, as well as the national anti-corruption strategy on what needs to be done differently. Part of the highlight of the day was a secondary school debate final competition on the topic, "The Current Education Agenda Equips the Nigerian Child for the Future in the Global World." As part of activities marking the International Anti-Corruption Day, the ICPC-NYSC Community Development Service CDS Group had earlier in the week staged a walk on the theme Nigerian Youth Unite Against Corruption to create awareness to members of the public on and against corruption. Some of the Youth Corps members share their views with us on why it is important for Nigerian youths to unite against corruption. Take a listen.
Anything that comes to a place and defile the morality or the values of that place is corruption. Now we have to fight against corruption because it brings down the value and the quality of people and things that are produced in the society. Everything that works together for the good of the citizen is kicked against by things that are not accepted. So we should fight against it. One, for a reason that we'll have trust and unity, and for us to be good as we should be very, should I say, more patriotic citizens, and it will help us also to know our rights and stand by it, and everybody will obey and follow rules and regulations. So knowing that corruption is something that reduces the value of another thing, we have to avoid it. Why? Because we have to maintain ourselves, our environment, and our loved ones, even our government at large.
All right, thank you, sir. First of all, I think corruption is poison, and I think it's not from the top necessarily, it starts from the grassroots. If every one of us can stand together, from the market women to the traders to whatever it is, if we can all stand together, students, old, young, if we can all come together to fight this thing, Nigeria will be a better place, because I believe Nigeria is ours and can be better if we all work together. So in every way, integrity will always win over corruption, and this means that we will stop fighting each other's foods and everybody can stand strong together. So I think we should stand together and fight. Thank you.
I think everyone stands a lot to gain from saying no to corruption. A lot of times when people hear the word corruption, their minds easily goes to our leaders. But unfortunately, every single Nigerian, in one way or the other, I may be wrong, but a lot of us are actually corrupt in the very little things we do. So it's the same force we need to sensitizing people and working together to end this corruption. In the very small places we have spheres of influence, we are not doing the right things most times. So if each and every member of this nation in our very little spaces can actually do something the right way, fortunately we all know what is right to do, but we fail to do it because we feel, even if I do it alone, what impact will I make? So one thing you need to do, or we need to do as Nigerians, is to change our mindset to think that if we do right, will not make an impact. If each and every member of the society does his own bit in a very small way he has or she has, I feel that both somebody we can make an impact, we can make a difference in our society.
One broom cannot sweep the floor. We need a bunch of brooms to sweep the floor. So until we are united together as a nation, we cannot actually free ourselves from this bondage called corruption. And actually it begins with the youth, because we have the energy and we have what it takes to actually spread the news around. But much more than that is, it begins especially from people in power. That's what I think. We are doing this to sensitize the public. Some people don't know what's going on. Some don't even know what ICPC stands for. Some don't even know that the youth are actually together with ICPC in this agenda of fighting corruption, of eliminating corruption from a country like Nigeria. Yeah, so I think it was important for us to sensitize the public, those passing on the road. These are the civil servants, the common Nigerian. These are major decision makers. These are the future leaders of Nigeria. So it's important for them to know that actually people are making moves, they are taking decisions, they are doing something in order to sensitize the public about corruption. Thank you.
Corruption can mess up every good thing a nation has. A nation is blessed with every good thing all around. If you and I care, we gonna get there. Just ask me how. It starts from you and I. Make you say no. When they give you bribe or ask you for bribe, make you say no. If you're there for office and tempted to steal, make you say no. We can only kill corruption and greed. Make we say no. Make we say no. Make we say no. Make you say no. When they give you bribe or ask you for bribe, make you say no. If you're there for office and tempted to and greed when we say no. When we say no, when we say no, when we say no.
We shall be right to say that there is no category of individual or even group of persons that is immune to the ravaging effect of corruption. Therefore, the time to collectively act against corruption is now. That's our package on today's edition. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen, and to report corruption through our toll-free numbers also showing on your screen. See you again, same time next week.